Welcome to British Focus. Today we dive into one of the most turbulent episodes in recent British political history, a crisis that has not only shaken Westminster but has left an indelible mark on the national psyche. Rachel Reeves, once a promising figure with the potential to steer the nation towards prosperity, now finds herself embroiled in a maelstrom of economic collapse and political scandal. It is almost as if the very foundations of fiscal responsibility have crumbled beneath her feet. The severity of this crisis is not just measured by the unprecedented financial disaster now gripping the United Kingdom, but by the stark image of a political career unraveling in real time. Imagine a leader whose economic policies, intended to uplift the nation, instead trigger a cascade of misfortune that leaves families struggling with soaring living costs and an energy crisis that shows no sign of abating. As we explore this unfolding drama, one cannot help but be captivated by the dramatic scene that transpired within the hallowed halls of Westminster. What began as a brutal parliamentary humiliation escalated into a full-blown scandal that would come to define Reeves' tenure. Reports indicate that in a moment of uncontrolled fury, Reeves allegedly struck Shadow Chancellor Mel Stride, a physical manifestation of the anger and desperation that had been festering beneath the surface. Such an act, occurring in the corridors of power, not only signaled a deep personal and political failure but also exposed the frailties of a leadership that was already teetering on the brink. For many observers, this altercation is emblematic of a much larger issue: the collapse of trust in political elites who seem incapable of managing the nation's most pressing challenges. Stride's response during a particularly fiery parliamentary session was nothing short of devastating. With a barrage of incisive criticisms and a relentless dissection of Reeves' economic strategy, he managed to strip away every ounce of credibility she had managed to build over her career. The session was a masterclass in political rhetoric, where each fact presented by Stride hit like a sledgehammer, shattering Reeves' carefully constructed narrative. His methodical deconstruction of her policies revealed a series of failures: skyrocketing inflation, punitive tax hikes, and an energy crisis that has left millions of Britons unable to afford even the most basic comforts. One is left to wonder, how did a government, once heralded for its potential to reform and rejuvenate the economy, become so inept at delivering on its promises? As we listen to the echoes of that parliamentary day, we are compelled to reflect on the broader implications of this crisis. For the ordinary citizen, the ramifications of these policy failures are all too real. Families across Britain are feeling the pinch as rising living costs and stagnant wages combine to create an atmosphere of economic despair. The impact of Reeves' leadership is being felt in every corner of society, from pensioners forced to confront the reality of their diminishing savings, to young families grappling with a relentless increase in bills. In this context, the physical altercation is not merely a personal failing, but a symbol of a much deeper systemic breakdown. It is a moment that encapsulates the frustration and anger of a public that has seen too many promises broken and too many hopes dashed. When Reeves was forced to retract her earlier claims that her policies were benefiting the working class, it was a moment of public humiliation that resonated far beyond the confines of Parliament. The stark contrast between her initial assurances and the harsh economic reality faced by millions is a damning indictment of a leadership that appears disconnected from the plight of ordinary citizens. It is essential for us, as engaged members of the public, to scrutinize not only the actions of our leaders but also the mechanisms of accountability that govern them. The fact that Reeves now faces potential court proceedings for her outburst underscores the gravity of the situation. Legal experts warn that this could be a turning point, a moment when the consequences of political mismanagement extend beyond the realm of public opinion and into the strictest confines of the law. The notion that a senior chancellor could be dragged into a legal battle over a moment of lost control is unprecedented, and it forces us to confront a fundamental question: can we, as a society, continue to tolerate a political system where the highest echelons of power are allowed to operate without sufficient checks and balances? As we interact with this narrative, let us not forget the role that public sentiment plays in shaping our political landscape. The mounting public anger, stoked by rising energy prices, brutal tax hikes, and the pervasive sense of financial insecurity, has created a climate where trust in government is at an all-time low. In a time when every household is grappling with the unbearable weight of economic hardship, the spectacle of a leader resorting to violence against a fellow politician is as shocking as it is symbolic. It is a visceral reminder of the costs of political failure, a failure that is measured not just in abstract policy debates, but in the real, tangible suffering of millions of people. In reflecting upon this crisis, we must also consider the broader narrative of accountability in British politics. Reeves' downfall is not merely an isolated incident. It is part of a larger pattern where the promises of stability and growth are repeatedly undermined by a failure to deliver. The political and economic structures that once instilled confidence in the electorate now seem to be crumbling, leaving behind a trail of disillusionment and despair. For those of us watching this unfold, it is a moment to question the very nature of political leadership. Is it enough to make grand promises and deliver rehearsed speeches? Or must we demand tangible results that improve the lives of everyday citizens? The debate we are witnessing today is one that transcends party lines and ideological divides. It is a debate about the kind of future we want for our country, a future where leaders are held accountable for their actions, where policy is not merely a collection of abstract ideas but a concrete force for good, and where the well-being of the people is placed above political expediency. As you engage with this discussion, I invite you to consider your own role in this process. How do we, as a society, ensure that those in power remain answerable to the people? How can we demand a standard of excellence that is commensurate with the weight of responsibility they bear? This unfolding crisis has forced us to confront the uncomfortable reality that even those in positions of great authority are not immune to the consequences of their actions. It is a stark reminder that power, when wielded without wisdom or accountability, can lead to devastating outcomes. As we continue to dissect this episode, let us remain vigilant and engaged. After all, the future of our nation depends on our ability to learn from these moments of failure and to demand better from those who would govern us. As you reflect on this dramatic narrative, consider the many layers of complexity that underpin the events we have witnessed. This is not simply a tale of personal downfall, but a broader commentary on the state of our political system and the immense challenges it faces in an era of economic uncertainty. The story of Rachel Reeves is a cautionary tale, a reminder that the pursuit of political power is fraught with peril, and that the consequences of mismanagement are far-reaching and often irreversible. In recent times, the United Kingdom has been thrust into the spotlight for a matter that encapsulates the tension between justice, politics, and the rights of victims. The pressure to extradite Andrew Tate from the United States is growing steadily, and as we examine the situation, it becomes evident that this is not merely a legal procedure but a test of our collective commitment to accountability. Many of you might have followed the developments with a mixture of skepticism and anger, and it is no wonder why. 4 courageous women have come forward with harrowing claims of rape and coercive control, asserting that they suffered at the hands of Tate. These allegations, deeply disturbing as they are, have ignited a call to action across the nation. The voices of these women are not just a plea for personal justice but a demand that British institutions step in and uphold the values of protection and dignity that so many of us hold dear. It is reported that A.E.T. Cooper, the Home Secretary, is contemplating the formal submission of an extradition request to the United States for Tate and his brother. The urgency of this move cannot be overstated. With the Tate brothers currently under investigation for sex trafficking in Romania, and having been spotted departing for Florida on a private jet as recently as Thursday, the symbolism of their flight from accountability is stark. This incident has sparked significant debate amongst legal experts and political commentators alike. How is it possible that individuals accused of such serious offences can seemingly slip through the net of international law? One must wonder whether this is a failing of our legal processes or an inevitable consequence of operating in a globalized world where jurisdictional lines blur and complicate swift justice. Adding to the complexity of the issue is the statement released by the Tate brothers, in which they maintain their innocence and claim to be misunderstood. This defensive posture, while perhaps understandable from a legal perspective, does little to mollify the outrage of the alleged victims. In their joint statement, the women have urged the UK government to act decisively and formally request the extradition of Andrew Tate. Their message is clear: the failure to do so would not only betray them but also countless other British victims of sexual violence who have been left waiting for justice. It is a sentiment that resonates with many of us who believe that the protection of the vulnerable should be paramount in our society. The role of the government in this matter has come under intense scrutiny. While the Home Secretary's commitment to supporting victims of sexual violence has been acknowledged, there remains a palpable sense of frustration among the public. There is a growing chorus of voices, including that of Robert Jenrich, the Shadow Justice Secretary, who insists that UK authorities should not delay any further in pursuing extradition. Genrich's remarks underscore the prolonged period of uncertainty that the alleged victims have already endured. and his call for immediate action reflects a broader demand for a justice system that operates without unnecessary bureaucratic delays. It is a stark reminder that the repercussions of inaction are not merely theoretical but have real, tangible impacts on the lives of those who have suffered. As we consider the implications of these developments, it is impossible to ignore the international dimension of this controversy. On Friday, the Tate brothers were seen in Miami, heavily guarded by security personnel, sparking widespread speculation about the influence of foreign political figures. Rumors have circulated that Donald Trump's administration may have played a role in persuading Romanian authorities to lift a travel ban that had previously been imposed on the Tate brothers. Although Mr. Trump has denied any involvement or prior knowledge regarding their arrival in the United States, such speculations only serve to muddy the waters further. They invite us to question the extent to which political maneuverings on the international stage might be interfering with the pursuit of justice, and whether powerful interests are capable of undermining legal processes meant to hold individuals accountable. This situation invites us to reflect on the broader state of our political and legal institutions. Are we prepared to confront the uncomfortable reality that the mechanisms designed to ensure justice and accountability may be subject to external influences and internal delays? The unfolding drama of Andrew Tate's extradition is not just a legal battle. It is a mirror held up to our society, reflecting the tensions between power, privilege, and the rights of the individual. For many, the notion that someone accused of such serious misconduct could potentially evade justice is a bitter pill to swallow. It challenges our faith in a system that is supposed to protect us, and it raises questions about whether enough is being done to support victims and deter future abuses. Moreover, the case has become a lightning rod for debates about the very nature of justice in a globalized world. The legal complexities of extradition, coupled with the competing interests of national sovereignty and international cooperation, create an environment where swift and unequivocal action is all too rare. As citizens, we are left to grapple with the implications of a system that sometimes seems more concerned with legal technicalities than with the moral imperatives that underlie our collective demand for accountability. The courage of those who have spoken out against Tate, the resilience of the alleged victims, and the mounting public pressure for decisive action all point to a shared desire for a justice system that is robust, impartial, and unyielding in the face of powerful opposition. In considering these matters, it is important to engage in a critical dialogue about what justice means for us as a society. The pressure to extradite Andrew Tate is emblematic of a broader struggle, a fight to ensure that our legal institutions remain true to their fundamental purpose, even in the face of formidable challenges. It is a call for a reassessment of our priorities, a demand that the voices of the vulnerable be heard above the din of political maneuvering and international power plays. As we navigate these treacherous waters, we must remain vigilant and hold our leaders accountable, ensuring that every decision made in the pursuit of justice is guided by principles of fairness, integrity, and respect for human dignity. In conclusion, as we bring this discussion to a close, I would like to thank you for engaging with these complex issues. Your attention to this matter is not only appreciated but essential as we collectively strive for a society that upholds justice for all. Stay informed, remain critical, and never stop questioning. Farewell, and may we all continue to seek truth and accountability in our public discourse.